If you'd rather fight a bear than attend a crowded concert, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Picture this. It's Saturday night. Your phone buzzes. Hey, we're all meeting at that new downtown spot. It's packed, but the vibe is amazing. And before you've even finished reading the message, your energy has already started disappearing. Not because you hate fun, not because you dislike people, but because your brain instantly calculated the cost of that amazing vibe and quietly decided it wasn't a great deal. If you've ever felt that way, you're probably used to hearing the same assumptions. People think you're shy, or antisocial, or maybe just boring. But what if none of those things are true? What if your brain is simply wired to experience the world differently? Because for some people, being surrounded by constant noise, stimulation, and social activity isn't energizing at all. It's exhausting. And once you understand why, a lot of your behavior starts making sense. Let's talk about what's really happening inside that beautifully complicated mind of yours. Number 1. Your brain notices more than most people realize. Most people have a built-in filter. They can walk into a crowded room and unconsciously tune out most of what's happening around them. The random conversations, the background music, the flickering lights, the awkward laugh coming from across the room. Their brain decides what's important and quietly ignores the rest. But your brain doesn't always work that way. Instead, it's paying attention to everything. The tone of someone's voice, a subtle change in someone's expression, the energy in the room, the conversation happening behind the conversation. Researchers sometimes refer to this as sensory processing sensitivity. In simple terms, it means you're naturally more aware of what's happening around you. It's like everyone else is watching life in standard definition while you're experiencing it in ultra-high resolution. You notice details other people miss. And the interesting part is that your brain doesn't just notice those details. It remembers them. That random interaction from weeks ago that everyone else forgot? Your mind may still be reviewing it. Not because you're obsessed with it, not because you're trying to overthink, but because your brain is constantly looking for patterns and meaning. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And throughout human history, that kind of awareness was incredibly valuable. Long before modern cities and smartphones existed, somebody had to notice danger before everyone else did. Somebody had to spot changes in the environment. Somebody had to pay attention when everyone else was distracted. That ability helped people survive. The challenge is that modern life constantly bombards us with stimulation. And when you're naturally tuned into more of it, things can become overwhelming much faster. Number 2. You don't hate people. You hate pretending. One of the biggest misconceptions about introverted or highly reflective people is that they dislike other people. Most of the time, that's not true at all. What tends to drain them isn't people, it's performance. Think about how many social interactions involve some level of acting. People pretending they're fine when they're stressed, pretending they're interested when they're distracted, pretending they're confident when they're nervous. Most of us do it to some extent. It's part of being human. But if you're highly perceptive, you notice it. You notice the gap between what people are saying and what they're actually feeling. And after a while, that can become exhausting. Not because you're judging anyone, but because your brain is constantly picking up signals beneath the surface. The body language, the facial expressions, the shifts in tone, the emotions people never say out loud. In many ways, it's like listening to two conversations at once. The spoken conversation and the unspoken one. That's why shallow interactions often feel draining. It's not that you're incapable of small talk. You can do it when necessary. You probably do it all the time. The problem is that it doesn't satisfy what you're actually looking for. You crave authenticity, depth, meaningful connection. The kind of conversation where people stop performing and start being real. You'd probably choose one honest conversation at 2 in the morning over hours of networking events and surface-level chatter. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Number 3. Your brain finds reward in different places. Here's something many people don't realize. Not everybody's brain finds excitement in the same things. For some people, a crowded party feels energizing. Being surrounded by people gives them energy. The stimulation feels rewarding. But for others, the reward comes from somewhere completely different. A quiet evening with a good book. A long walk alone. A deep conversation. Time spent reflecting. Time spent creating. Time spent thinking. Instead of needing constant external stimulation, your brain often benefits from internal space. And that difference matters, because when people see you choosing solitude, they sometimes assume something is missing. But from your perspective, nothing is missing at all. You're getting exactly what you need. In fact, some research suggests that more introverted individuals often spend more time engaged in reflection, planning, and deep thinking. So while it might look like you're doing nothing from the outside, there's often a lot happening internally. Ideas connecting, thoughts forming, problems being solved, possibilities being explored. Your quiet moments aren't empty. They're productive in a way that isn't always visible. Number 4. You feel more than people think. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed that something felt off? Nobody said anything. Everyone looked fine. But somehow, you knew. Many people who prefer solitude are also highly sensitive to emotional cues. They pick up on tension, stress, excitement, discomfort, sometimes before anyone says a word. And while that ability can be incredibly valuable, it can also be exhausting. Because when you're surrounded by a lot of people, you're not only managing your own emotional experience, you're constantly processing everyone else's as well. The energy in the room, the moods of the people around you, the emotional atmosphere. After enough time, it starts to feel like your brain is carrying far more information than it was ever meant to. That's one reason social recovery is so important. Some people leave a crowded event feeling energized. You leave feeling like your battery just hit 1%. And that's okay. Needing time alone doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It simply means that's how you recharge. The upside is that this sensitivity often comes with a remarkable ability to understand people. You notice what others overlook. You hear what's not being said. You recognize emotions that haven't been expressed yet. And in a world where many people struggle to understand even their own feelings, that's a rare skill. Number 5. You're not escaping life. You're connecting with it differently. Modern culture often sends a very specific message. Be busy. Be social. Be visible. Always be doing something. Always be surrounded by people. Always be connected. And if you're not, it can feel like you're somehow falling behind. But maybe that's not true. Maybe you've discovered something many people spend years trying to learn. Silence isn't empty. It's where clarity shows up. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's often where self-understanding begins. Some of the most important insights you'll ever have won't happen in a crowded room. They'll happen when you're alone with your thoughts. When the noise finally fades. When you're not distracted by expectations. When you're simply able to hear yourself think. That doesn't mean isolation is the answer. Human connection still matters. Relationships still matter. Community still matters. But so does having space to breathe. Space to reflect. Space to reconnect with yourself. And maybe that's what people misunderstand. You're not avoiding life. You're experiencing it in a different way. A quieter way. A deeper way. A way that allows you to notice things many people rush right past. So the next time someone asks why you don't go out more often, remember this: you don't need to force yourself into environments that constantly drain you just to prove you're normal. You're not broken. You're not boring. And you're not antisocial. You simply value depth in a world that often rewards noise, and honestly, that's a strength, not a weakness. So tell me, are you someone who comes alive in a crowd? Or are you the kind of person who'd happily spend the evening alone with your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And if this resonated with you, subscribe and check out the next video.